lot of times if you wouldn't have been our dad, we'd have quit before you had a chance to fire us. Believe me.
Whoa, baby. You don't feel nothing in this thing.
Jacob Landry, cast member of the hit show Swamp People, has suffered a devastating tragedy that has left fans heartbroken, a tragedy that has broken the hearts of fans. The Sinjin alligator hunter has had to deal with an event that changed my life forever, changed his future. But what a scary ordeal has Jacob Landry been through, and how has this changed his life and work? Come with us as we look into the emotional living in the swamp story about life in the swamp with alligators. Adventures of the Swamp People is a TV show. A show that really gets people into the right in the middle of the Louisiana swamps, shows brave and hardworking people who hunt alligators even though it could kill them to look after their families. These hunters live and work in the Acafalaya River Basin. Is a lovely, but the place is wild and full of twisting rivers, thick forests, and all sorts of animals. And what makes their story so interesting, what makes them unique, is that they're keeping a tradition that goes back almost 300 years. Years after years. Alligator hunting, the season starts on the first Wednesday in September, but it only lasts 30 days. During that short time, the hunters do they can, because this is when they make most of their money each year. From it's not easy or safe to do the job. Gators with sharp teeth that are hard to predict weather, and strict rules about how many everyone can catch gators at the start of the season. Every hunter is given a certain number of tags each time. In order to catch an alligator, a tag must be connected to it. When a hunter runs out of, they use tags, which is also known as tagging out. The season is over for good. With only a month to work, every hunter tries their best to use up all of their tags before it's too late. Even if it's alligator season ends, life doesn't slow down for many of these swamp families. Work in the marshes to keep yourself busy, getting crabs, shrimp, fish, and crawfish. Some people also hunt animals on land. Such people who live in the swamp, raccoons and turtles, do everything you can to keep food on the table and take care of the people they love. A lot of them also do extra work when they need to. That shows how hardworking, and they are sure that they are the show. It's not just about hunting, it gives us a better look at the personal people. Get to know the lives of the hunters, their loved ones, hear their stories, and see how they deal with everyday struggles. Sometimes the episodes show other traditions in the swamp, like fishing, getting food, and following different animals. When these things happen, fans can enjoy the beauty and mystery of the swamp like almost no one else does. In season 4, the show changed things by going with hunters to different parts of Texas and even Louisiana. This made seeing the show even more exciting. Got to meet new people and see new places and learn more about the swamp way of life. Now let's look at Jacob's The People of Life in the Swamp are Jacob Landry's A Trip Through the Swamp. Trip through the swamp. When Swamp People. From the start, all eyes were on Troy Landry, the brave alligator hunter who is known as King of the Swamp. Still standing by his side was his son Jacob Landry. He wasn't the main character in the show at first, but he was always right in the middle of the stay calm and steady no matter what. Everything that happened around him from the start. Worked with his father to learn how to hunt dangerous alligators in the wild. Come on, people, let's pop the line. And a beating heart, eagle, get the boat, hurry up and grab the goats. Don't play, and don't play with him. He came here, into the rough waters of Louisiana. Viewers noticed right away Jacob is calm and has good skills. Whether he was steering the boat through waterways that are narrow and winding or helping his dad get a big alligator in the boat, his face always showed that he was in. He kept his mind on the task at hand and didn't not to worry, no matter how crazy things got. Being able to drive a boat in a swamp isn't as it looks easy, but the water is full with tight spots, sharp turns, and added to that, Jacob had to keep the boat steady while his dad fought a strong alligator was only a few inches away. He made it look easy, but it was easy. He led the boat through the hardest parts, kept it balanced, and made sure that every catch was done safely. These weren't just seen from TV shows, their real job, which Jacob did with his care and heart, made him stand out. Didn't have any flashy words or dramatic moments. It was the way he was, quiet and honest. It was caught on camera that he didn't pay attention or try to act for the show, was just an honest son helping his fans. Loved him because he was a good father. Felt like they had a connection with Jacob. He looked so real that he made them think of a neighbor, a brother, or a friend. Might have known he wasn't acting like he was just doing what he had always done. Life as the years went by, Jacobs became older, he spoke up more, making big choices and being in charge during the hunts. He became close to Troy, became one of the best parts of the show. They didn't have to work together or follow a plan. Their thoughts were known to each other. Often without having to say anything, their bond showed how strong years of work have built a family together in tough, dangerous spots. Even though we can only see through the cameras, Jacob has been through a lot during the hunt and the show. Let's look into the fights that happened behind the scenes. Fights behind the scenes when swamp people became well known. The quiet life. Jacob Landry knew all of a sudden how Jacob had always lived had changed in peace in the Louisiana swamps, being in nature's peaceful sounds of birds, the slow flow of water, and the not a word of the wild. Fame was ever something he still wanted. As more people saw the show, where Jacob under a new type of spotlight that was full of with cameras, fans, and sometimes critics. Jacob was used to the swamp's peace, not the noise of people wanting attention to find out everything about him. He did what he thought and was who he really was when there were no cameras around. Even though many fans were nice and helpful, some critics took a close look and asked about his life. This attention was hard for Jacob because he didn't expect his quiet world to become so public. All of a sudden, behind the scenes, things were different. Based on what the cameras caught, it wasn't just about jumping over alligators, getting into a boat and going after animals. Long hours of waiting for the right tools, for fixing lights that didn't work, putting on the same scene over and over. The weather could change quickly, which it was hard to work in the water. Safety was always the most important thing for who cared a lot about being real and being honest. When using cameras, it sometimes felt weird that there were times when hunting had to stop because someone had to fix a camera or wait for the sun to come back out from behind clouds. They often said what was going on so viewers could make sense of everything. Even though the show had to change for TV rules, Jabez and his family worked tough to stay true to their lives. As the show got bigger, new problems came up. Animal rights groups spoke out against it was shown that hunting was fun for some, interested in whether some of the show was fake, meant to be more exciting. This kind of reality TV often gets bad reviews, but for Jacob, it was extra stress that he used to be just a hunter, but now he was a face of swamp. Even though Jacob stayed true to, he told himself that the show, it's not just about killing alligators in real life. A Louisianan hobby. It's carefully set by the government to protect nature, kept the Landry family in check. Took care of the land and the animals. That wasn't the point of the show. To share a story about a family that had been around for generations. No matter the Jacob didn't pay attention to the noise outside. Most important to him were his family and his job. And he loved the swamp for many years. Fans and other athletes respected him. Hunters, his steady and calm way of he was liked for how he dealt with hard times. On a show with lots of loud types, Jake was the quiet hero who showed how important family, hard work, and patience are. It is really hard to live in the swamp. As a child, Jacob had a lot of problems. Bugs that bite in the heat and other risks in the water made life very hard. All of a sudden there were a lot of storms and fast currents. There were alligators nearby all the time. But Jacob did not run away from these problems. Instead, he grew up and learned to live with them. He wasn't able to see the as a scary place, but as a living classroom. As a boy, Jacob felt that it had its own secrets. A strong connection to the land. In every sound, the sound of birds singing and water splashing meant the sky, the wind, and the animal. Every movement told a story, but Jacob didn't. He learned how to fight the swamp, know and honor what makes it unique. Connection gave him knowledge that went beyond years ago. Family was the most important thing. A look into Jacob's life before the cameras. The Landry family wasn't known when it came not just for hunting but also for they were taking care of the swamp. They look out for a way of life, not just hunters. As a child, Jacob learned how important tradition is and how nature is all linked up and how important family is to stay alive. Even through the swamps and everyday life, Jacob had a plan for his day. Back to a family and love to lean on, to watch out for who these people were so important to him to stay with us. Everyday life at home. Jake Landry's nice home life. Jake Landry has worked on swamp for a long time. People who show the tough and fun hunter in the Louisiana swamps for a living, but what makes him strong and stable is his life with his family at home. Landry. Lindsay may not be married to on TV a lot, but she's the calm heart of Jacob's life while he faces Lindsay. Alligators and adventures in the swamp make certain their home is quiet and full of love. But Lindsay rarely talks to the cameras or does interviews. People who follow Jacob know how important she is to him, and they talk about their feelings on the phone and on social media, showing how important having is to Jacob somebody who really gets him. Being the center of attention isn't always easy. It was stressful and tiring, but after a long hard day, Jacob finds comfort in Lindsay's friend's steady help. She's his safe place. Jen and Jacob are raising their children together. They have 2 boys, Ridge and Case. They taught their sons the same things Jabez learned from his dad Troy Landry. There are a lot of family stories. Jacob loves teaching people how to survive in the swamp. His boys weren't just to keep the family together, kept alive, but because of these lessons. Jake, teach me important things about life, teaches Case and Ridge how to steer a boat. Look at the flow of the water and take note. Birds and plants, these aren't just skills, they teach you to be patient, pay attention, and take care of the swamp. It's a living world that you can run. Learn from Jacob and live with him. Very good dad, because he knows his boys could go their own ways one day, and it doesn't matter if they grow up or not to be teachers or hunters or to stay with other. Jacob wants them to hold on to their dreams. The people in their family value hard work and being honest. His main goal is to raise sons who are kind, strong, and balanced. Even with a busy life, movie making, swamp work, and when Jacob tours, he makes sure to spend time simple things with Lindsay and the boys, having dinner together and doing chores, being with each other, or just hanging out at home less important to him than any of these. He feels calm when it's quiet, and the Landry men have always been happy. Jacob and his father Troy had a close relationship, and his brothers help each other out. They work together through thick and thin. Team and keep their family traditions alive, letting Ridge know these values and Casey. Jacob looks out for his families. Be careful about your privacy while he talks about hunts and sometimes shares not. He keeps seeing pictures of his family online. His friends and family just for them. He is sure that kids deserve a happy, easy life. Not getting enough attention as a child from the outside world and living with cams around can be tough. Fans and sometimes strangers get too close, but Jacob and Lindsay work on having a loving, strong home that follows their own rules, not what other people think. For Jake, the swamp isn't just a job for you. It has a teacher and a lot of lessons on how to deal with surprises in life. He wants his boys to be safe in storms and on calm days. To get strong and steady, Jacob will be there for them no matter what he does. What his father did he leads as a teacher with patience and kindness. And lessons from real life instead of strict rules for everything. From sailing to taking care of animals in the wild, Jacob thinks kids learn best by being humble. Keeping close to family and simple has changed over time. Jacob Landry's role on Swamp People slowly grew. At first, he was just one of the hunters in the swamp, but as more people watched the show, Jacob to take on bigger duties, not just in the swamp, but also as a person from the Landry family. With more people started to watch what Jacob did. Interviewing people, going to events, and still get the word out about the show. Pay attention. Jacob stayed humble man. He was always the one people saw on TV. Was the same person who learned how to get through the swamp as a child. He knew the swamp as his fame didn't change anything in the classroom, that the show changed the way people looked. Many people had come into life in southern Louisiana never seen or known how the swamp works, of what life was like before Jacob became in this one-of-a-kind world. Strength and honor. He proved the swamp wasn't just it was a home full of wild and dangerous history, family ties, and follow. Jacob's journey on the show reflected the rise of the show. He began small at first but quickly grew to be one of the loved and new faces, but Jacob, he truly didn't want to be famous. To honor his family and keep their way of life alive, people could sense that being honest when they watched him tell his story came from having strong values in real life and a strong love for his home and neighborhood. As the show went on, more and more people wanted to know about Jacob's private life. He had to choose how much of his life to share. Even though he Was still busy on Swamp. Jacob always stayed with these people. Being true to himself and his beliefs can help him get famous. Joseph promised to keep his word and change people. He had his feet on the ground and his mind on being good at his job and loving his family, not taking care of the swamp where he grew up. No matter how well known the show made, Jacob keeps his private life calm. Some people like being the center of attention. However, Jacob is happiest at home. Is fond of hearing his sons laugh. Some alone time with his wife Lindsay and being filled with the love of family. All to Jacob and those around him, success isn't about, it's not about the money or fame. The relationships he builds are what he values, lives by, and how he makes a difference. For he wants to teach his family kids how important it is to be kind, not how to be, but how to work and stay humble. Famous Jacob is very close to that person. With his dad Troy Landry, even though Jake is now a dad, but he still does more than just hunt with Troy. Not only life skills, but also work together for years and shared. Jake and I have deep talks about family and duty. He wants his own boys to feel the same way. Strong bond, just like any family. The Jake is honest, Landry is having a hard time about that, but what makes them strong is always sticking together and helping each other, getting along and remembering what's important most while the rest of the world is busy. Jacob is at peace with his simple family moments, like eating meals together and teaching his boys, having fun on the water and laughing together. For Jacob, being simple isn't about what you do less, it's about picking what really things and keeping it close. Over the years, he's built a life that combines the TV's busy world and the quiet to make his family happy. He mixes old traditions with fresh chances and dreams with happiness, even though his life has changed, but he never left the things he learned as a child. And the Jake loves his family more than anything else. Rather than his fame, he's set on his sons, whether they will follow him into the swamp or go their own way. The most important thing is to teach them to be kind. Each day to stay strong and loving. Does not only on TV, Jacob keeps the people in the swamp still feel the Landry family spirit. He gave up his life. Why did he do that? What happened that took over? What's life like outside of the show? Find out why Jacob Landry quit. As every time a new season of Swamp People came out, fans saw something different in Jacob Landry. One of the well-known faces on the show wasn't coming up as often as it used to. For many people who had seen him in the beginning, this change made them think, where was Jacob? What was he about to do? Was he no longer in the spotlight, or did he try something new? The answer is yes. Fits perfectly with the kind of man Jacob is, who cares about balance and following what his true path was. Jacob didn't just leave him alone, he still lives in Pierre Park, Louisiana's small swamp town where he lived, grew up, and loves his home the most. For the land, the water, and the swamp he has a lot of traditions, but now he changes to his time. After years of tough filming schedules and the ride of reality TV, Jacob chose to on new things that help him stayed close to his roots as he grew up a person above all else. No matter what in 2015, does family always come first? Many people were shocked when Jacob stepped into a new world. He showed up in a low-budget movie. There is a scary movie called Paranormal Extremes. Jake wasn't getting text messages from the dead. He was after fame and just wanted to try do something different and get away from in his usual way. He did a small, played an important part, and even helped direct scenes. The movie didn't turn into a hit, but it showed fans a different side of Jacob. They had never seen such a creative before. Enthusiastic spirit, ready to try new things. Jake made a special back in 2013. Show up on the Queen Latifah show. Thanks for being here. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. Happy to say that by you I mean you. I saw on TV that you're not on the boat. I don't see any alligators except on you. Got lucky with those boots. Chance to see him not in the swamps and alligator hunts. He was honest about his childhood, what he believed, and how he dealt with the growing TV attention. Not much fame. The interview wasn't flashy or staged. It was just Jacob being honest and calm, being true to himself, the same man viewers loved on Swamp People. A man who was shaped by work hard as a family and have strong values. Today he spends a lot of time on things that keep him close to his roots, but out of the public eye. One of leading swamps is one of his favorite things to do. Tours. These tours let people come to go alligator hunting and explore a swamp first-hand life. Come on into my man cave. You can see that we like to hunt more than just gators in our line of work. During the winter we also have time, but it's not just. Jacob talks about how exciting these trips are. To show people how important it is of Louisiana's wetlands and how people live there. People like him have lived in peace with the meat. Jacob in the land for generations. Person is something that tons of visitors never. Don't forget that he's not flashy or full of show. He doesn't use tricks. Instead, he's honest and telling real stories about the beauty and talks about how dangerous the swamp is. How he and other people like him learned how to stay alive in this wild place and taught those lessons to one from one generation to the next. These tours are more than just a way to make money. They let him tell his story and tell us how much he loves the swamp. Joshua is not only a guide.